Taking his case into his own hands, the eyes of the Supreme Court were on Greg Lynn as the former pilot stepped into the witness box. Mr Lynn said the deaths of Carol Clay and Russell Hill at this campsite were not his fault. "I am innocent. I haven't killed anyone," Mr Lynn said. He claims Miss Clay was accidentally shot in the head as he struggled with Mr Hill over a gun. He says he then acted in self-defence as Mr Hill came at him again with a knife and inadvertently stabbed himself. Under questioning from his barrister Dermot Dan, Mr Lynn described it as a horrendous scene and said it was despicable that he then destroyed evidence and dumped the campers' bodies here under a pile of sticks. Loved ones of Russell Hill and Carol Clay watched on as Mr Lynn told the court, "All I can say to the families is that I'm very sorry for your suffering." But the prosecutor accused him of lying and murdering the retirees. "You murdered Mr Hill, what do you say? That's not true. You took aim at Mrs Clay, you shot at her multiple times. That's not true." Greg Lynn says the dispute started because he didn't like Mr Hill flying this drone, and Mr Hill also didn't want Mr Lynn hunting close to their campsite. Mr Lynn says things escalated when the 74-year-old stole his shotgun. "You could have just started up your vehicle. You could have simply driven away. He had stolen something of mine and I wanted to get it back." Despite some fiery questions, Greg Lynn remained composed on the stand. He only appeared shaken once. He took a deep breath and admitted he'd lied to his wife when he pretended that he had nothing to do with the camper's demise. Mr Lynn said his career as a pilot meant he could stay calm under pressure, but he says he panicked at the campsite and believed he'd wrongly be blamed. "Clearly things are worse for me now. It's a disaster, and it would have been a disaster if I had gone to the police." Mr Lynn has pleaded not guilty to murder, but he concedes he is guilty of destroying evidence by putting the campers' bodies in his trailer and returning to set fire to the remains. After 4 weeks, evidence in the trial has now finished. The jury could be sent out next week. Christian Silva, ABC News, Melbourne.